The United States of America was founded on a bedrock of religious principles. Now, this may seem out of step with what the media and mainstream education system have promoted for generations, but it is an undeniable truth.
From the earliest settlement of North America, over a century before the American Revolution, this continent was developed by people seeking religious freedom. The story of how America was populated and built is a story of faith. Faith in God and faith in each other. Faith in a society not governed by kings, but by neighbors, by those who shared in the same struggles and joys of life.
In 1630, John Winthrop delivered his famous City on a Hill sermon to settlers about to land in the New World. He urged, "We must delight in each other, make others' conditions our own, rejoice together, mourn together, labor and suffer together. For we must consider that we shall be as a city on a hill, the eyes of all people upon us." These settlers had fled persecution in Europe. They were making a new covenant, not only with one another, but with God. Their goal? A society where their faith guided their daily lives.
A look at the eastern seaboard in the 1700s reveals a pattern. Religious groups fled Europe and settled in colonies where they could worship freely. Congregationalists in Massachusetts, Quakers in Pennsylvania, Catholics in Maryland, Anglicans, Lutherans, and Presbyterians in the Carolinas all came seeking freedom and grace, hoping to find peace in this life and perfection in the next.
With the Word of God serving as the primary book of instruction for most school children and churches providing the main meeting place in colonial America, religion and faith were the common bonds which tied a community together. These eternal truths also provided the framework for how society functioned. Faith wasn't just a personal thing back then, it was public. Faith wasn't separated from life, it shaped their everyday lives.
The religious fire that led to the colonization of the eastern seaboard would be fanned by the Great Awakening of the 1730s. In a direct response to the Age of Reason sweeping through Western civilization, the Great Awakening transferred the administration of faith from the few ordained clergy to individuals. Faith became deeply personal. Ordinary people, not just clergy, began to see their relationship with God as their own responsibility.
It's in this period that the engine of the American Revolution was born. The men and women who came of age during and directly after the Great Awakening would be those who challenged the greatest military force on the planet and forge a new nation with a new set of ideals. A study of those who attended the First and Second Continental Congresses will show a full range of religious practices among them. Church attendance was almost a given in the time period before the Revolution, a social norm in which a high percentage of the colonists believed. Surely there were deists among them, but even these often practiced the religion of their forebears, even as they philosophized about the rational nature of God.
Look at the Declaration of Independence, the founding document of our nation. It's full of references to God. It's clear that our rights don't come from a king or a government, they come from a higher power. They are unalienable, natural, God-given, and not up for debate. During the war, American leaders called on God constantly. They prayed for protection, for guidance, for victory. They gave thanks after every battle, every breakthrough, and every moment of hope.
In the Bill of Rights, religion has a preeminent spot in the First Amendment, restricting Congress from making any law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. The Constitution breaks with the classic model that each nation has its own religion and prohibits the government from forcing any one faith on its inhabitants. It goes on to deny the government from persecuting anyone for their own religious beliefs or practices. This often misinterpreted language gives the broadest freedom to citizens in the history of the world. It can be no accident that this is the very first right protected, proof of just how important faith was in the founding of the United States.
Nearly 20 years after the Declaration, George Washington stated the cause for faith plainly in his farewell address. Of all the dispositions and habits which lead to political prosperity, religion and morality are indispensable supports, joining together our nation's future success in the foundation of faith.
A student of history cannot escape the multitude of references to biblical stories and lessons in the writings of the founders of our nation, nor can they miss the obvious impact of the age-old Judeo-Christian influence on our laws and on the structure of society. A nation without that foundation of faith wouldn't just be different, it would be something completely, wholly contrary to the founding tradition.